Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to understand how Ketu behaves in purvashadha nakshatra. Ketu in purvashadha nakshatra is not soft or passive at all. It's a quite intense, stubborn and spiritually militant placement, I can say. So if you observe purvashadha nakshatra, the ruler of this nakshatra is Venus and it is present in the sign Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. And the symbol of purvashadha nakshatra is generally it's a fan or winnowing basket. And the deity of purvashadha nakshatra is Apa. It's nothing but water. It's a water deity. And whenever you talk about purvashadha nakshatra, you generally talk about victory and also purification and a kind of unshakable conviction, kind of Hitler kind of energy you feel here. And purvashadha is invincible star. It means that. So it doesn't retreat, it waits, adapts, and then overcomes as well. So it has that capacity. Fundamentally, this nakshatra has that capacity. So this nakshatra is about holding on to beliefs at all costs. At any cost, they hold on to some beliefs. It can be sometimes this nakshatra is about moral or ideological superiority and long-term battles rather than quick wins. That is the energy you feel with this nakshatra. And emotional endurance is what we explain, we say, we theme this particular nakshatra with this word emotional endurance because of that watery element nature. Now, what is the nature of Ketu? Ketu is famous for detachment without any doubt. One can say Ketu is all about detachment. It's also about past life mastery. It's about your ego dissolution. Ketu always destroys your ego, especially if you have already gone through some Ketu Mahadasha, you might be knowing it very clearly. Ketu hates ego, Ketu dissolves ego. If you have any ego, that ego will be completely dissolved during your Ketu Mahadasha. So Ketu is always about ego dissolution. And Ketu is also about spiritual isolation. So generally during Ketu Mahadasha, people, they come to know the true colors of even the loved ones, and they also, even if the loved ones do not have much true colors, still there is a kind of separation expected, right? It may not be for everybody, but I'm not frightening you, but this is the general theme of Ketu Mahadasha. So spiritual isolation is the general theme of Ketu Mahadasha. So, and certain cutting off from worldly, materialistic things is also Ketu's energy. So Ketu doesn't want victory, basically. It wants freedom from the need to win, right? So you have some need to win, that is purvashadha. Purvashadha is something like at any cost, I am going to believe this and I am going to win. It's a kind of invincible victory. But that victory is what? That is nothing but your ego, and Ketu hates this ego, right? So people think they are running in some competition, and if they are winning genuinely, I'm talking about a genuine win, even Ketu doesn't like it, because a genuine win also develops ego, and Ketu doesn't like that ego. So something like Purvashadha is always saying, I must win, my truth must prevail. And Ketu says, winning is an illusion. I don't like all this, right? So this creates a kind of warrior monk energy. So the deep inner conflict between belief and detachment, that's what you can say when Ketu is in Purvashadha nakshatra. So strong opinions but no emotional attachment to convincing others. And there is a kind of silent stubbornness observed because of this placement. That is a so doesn't argue. This energy doesn't argue, doesn't explain, doesn't retreat. It's a silent stubbornness. Ketu in purvashadha is it's a silent stubbornness. It's once decided, it's unmovable kind of. So this is a kind of cold conviction, I would say. This is not a loud fanaticism, but it is a cold conviction. And you can see the psychological and behavioral traits of this particular placement. They have unshakable beliefs, but they are very private. Very strong internal philosophy they would have, but may not preach, but will never change stance. Because that is purvashadha. At all costs, it sticks to its belief system. It sticks to its belief system. But Ketu is always about detachment. So there is a kind of conflict, and thereby you can of course find a balance by this behavior. That is, you might be having some internal philosophy, you may not preach, but will never change your stance. Even when proven wrong externally, internally they stay rooted. They do not change. It's very difficult to change them. It's a silent stubbornness, I would say. And a kind of detached, the energy is detached from social validation, doesn't care if others agree or not, can walk away from groups, institutions, even religions. As a lone believer energy, that's what I can see with this. A silent, stubborn personality. So this energy, it can survive long emotional droughts, doesn't collapse under failure or rejection. It's always a silent stubbornness. It's a quiet endurance. They prefer quiet endurance rather than this emotional expression. Right? So they're already a kind of warriors, in the past life itself. So you may not be able to change them. So they always feel like, if you're trying to change them, they always feel like, I already fought this battle before. This life feels like fatigue from ideological wars. So the inner rigidity is very much higher, I would say. And purvashadha is about purification through water. So because of with that energy here, Ketu gives inner cleansing through some kind of disillusionment and breaking false beliefs, especially inherited dogmas are going to be broken, I will say. And spiritual practices you can observe in these people related to silence, inner vows, or tapasya without show, right? It's a kind of mantra or breath based practices you can observe with this energy. The real danger zone is something like becoming spiritually arrogant while appearing detached. They have some kind of spiritual arrogance. It's something like, I know the truth, others are lost mindset. Very subtle ego, right? Very subtle ego you can observe. And if you observe the career, Ketu doesn't love material ambition, but purvashadha pushes long-term goals. So results look like, it's a kind of strong start, but sudden withdrawal. Or leadership roles rejected or abandoned kind of energy, or success without satisfaction, or walking away after victory. This is the kind of energy, because purvashadha always wants some materialistic satisfaction, where Ketu always prefers some kind of detachment. So this walking away after victory or success without satisfaction these are the general patterns observed. So for this kind of placement, if you want to pursue some career better, I suggest philosophy, law, ethics, research. It's something like policy, advisory roles, or spiritual teaching, NGOs, or so this kind of roles you may excel in. And Relationship patterns, if you observe, this placement is emotionally dry but very loyal, I can say. It's a commitment without emotional drama you can observe in these people. So difficulty expressing the vulnerability also you can find in these people. And partner may feel kept at a distance because these people behave that way, right? And this energy, they generally they need respect for beliefs more than emotional reassurance. So if disrespected ideologically, instant emotional shutdown can be observed in these people. So never disrespect these people ideologically. And another important thing is, if this energy is not much evolved, it's something like Ketu is in purvashadha and your Jupiter is somewhere not well placed, so there is no much nourishment to this particular Ketu in purvashadha because your Jupiter is not good. So what would happen is it's a kind of unevolved energy. That means it's a kind of, it turns out to be a rigid belief system or moral superiority or a kind of emotional coldness or passive resistance instead of healthy confrontation. This is what you can observe. Something like, I am done with this world, kind of escapism you can observe if this particular energy does not have enough nourishment. That means if Jupiter is not well placed. If it is evolved, that means if your Jupiter is well placed with this placement, you can observe some calm spiritual authority or inner victory without external wars, and also ability to guide others without attachment. Something like living proof that silence can be very powerful. They can stand as a kind of living proof that silence is the most powerful thing. So this is my take on Ketu and Purvashadha. Thanks for watching this video.